In this video, we're going to continue our discussion of slope. So we've done slope from a graph, slope from 2 points. Another way you might calculate slope is when you're given a table. So we're going to work on finding slope from a table. So with these problems, we're just going to jump right in. Just remember that slope is your change in y over change in x. So that symbol, the triangle symbol, is a Greek letter. It means delta, and it means change in. So change in y is really just you take your y values and subtract them over your x values subtracted. So that was our formula for slope in our discussion of slope. So let's say you're given a table. All right, so let's make our table. So we have our values for x and then our values for y. We have -6, -2, 2, 6, and then 11, 1, -9, and -19. Okay, so when you're finding slope, remember slope is just the change in your y values over the change in your x values. So we're just figuring out how is this changing as you go from point to point on the table. How are the y values changing? And to figure that out, you just take the number below and you subtract the number above it. So if I do 1 minus 11, that gives me -10. If I do -9 minus 1, that's -10. -19 minus -9 is -10. So the change here in the y values is -10. Do the same thing with the x values. Take that number below and minus the number above it, and you get +4. Take the number below minus the number above it, and you get 4 again. Number below minus number above, 4. So it's the same steps where you're subtracting your y values and you're subtracting your x values and you're seeing the change. So the slope for this table would be -10 over 4. And we could simplify that because we can divide both those numbers by 2, so it would really be -5 over 2. And that's finding slope from a table. Just look at the change between the points as you're moving in the table by subtracting the number below above the number with the number above it. And you just repeat that process with each part of the table as you move down it. Let's take a look at another example. All right, so let's say I gave you this table. All right, so we've got -5, -2, 1, 4, -4, -3, -2, -1. Those are my x values and those are my y values. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to look at the change. And remember, you just take the lower number minus the higher number to figure out the change. So -2 minus -5, that's actually +3. Do it again. 1 minus -2 turns into +3. And 4 minus 1 turns into +3. So my change in my y values there is it's going up by 3 each time. My x values I can calculate very quickly as well. -3 minus -4 is 1. -2 minus -3 is 1. -1 minus -2 is 1. So the change in the changes in the x's is 1. These are going up by 1 each time. And the change in the y's was 3. So my slope here is 3 over 1, which we can divide to give me 3. So when you're looking at slope, you're just comparing the change from point to point as you're moving in the table. And then you look at the change in your y value compared to the change in your x value. So take the number below minus number above, and then repeat. Number below minus number above. Number below minus number above. Let's look at 2 more examples to see some special cases of slope. All right, so in this table, when we're looking at the changes, we've got -1, 6, 3, 6, 7, 6, and 11, 6. Look at your change. So the lower one minus the higher one, or the number below minus number above, is 6 minus 6, which is 0. And for this table, since all of the y values are the same, it's always going to be the change is 0. There is no change from 6 to 6 to 6. It's 0. On the x's, you would do the same thing where you subtract. So I'm just subtracting the number below with the number above it and seeing the change. So here my slope is 0 over 4, which equals 0. Let's look at one more example, and then I think you're ready to go. All right, so let's find the change. I've got -2, 3, -2, 5, -2, 7, -2, 9. Finding the change between the points, you just take the lower value, the number below, minus the number above it. So 5 minus 3 is 2. 7 minus 5 is 2. 9 minus 7 is 2. So I'm just taking the number below with the minus number above it. So the change in the y's there is 2. Change in the x's, we do the same thing. Take the number below minus number above. So -2 minus -2 is 0 because negative negative becomes positive there. So this is going to be the same thing throughout. So your slope is your change in your x, and your change in your y, excuse me, with your change in your x. So the slope here would be change in y over change in x. So I have 2 over 0. So remember, we can't divide this, so the slope here is undefined. And that's calculating slope from a table.